Hello everybody, it's your friendly digital technology librarian, Christy here. We've reached another Friday, so of course we have another Film Rec Friday ready for everybody out there. So we have reached July, and if you followed this channel in years past, you know that means a month-long Holidays in July celebration. This week we are going to be focusing on the ever-popular Hallmark Now BingePass through our Hoopla service. If you are not already familiar, BingePasses are fantastic. Every month you get 10 checkouts via Hoopla, but what's great about a BingePass is you use one of those 10 checkouts and you get 7 full days of unlimited access to specific channels through the BingePass. One of the ones that we were talking about today in particular is the Hallmark Now channel BingePass. This BingePass gives you complete access to everything the Hallmark Now channel has to offer. That means everything new on the Hallmark Now channel is free and clear for you to watch. There are no limits. You could watch things 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for that 7 days that you have checked out. So in theory, you could actually have an actual subscription to the Hallmark Now channel entirely for free with your Milan-Berlin library card, which is pretty awesome if you happen to be a Hallmark fan. So yeah, today I've got 2 really solid recommendations from their Christmas in July celebration that they're doing on the Hallmark Now channel. And again, you have access to that if you do decide to use a checkout from the Hoopla service on the Hallmark Now BingePass. So without any further ado, let's get to the recs. Okay, the first of my 2 picks today is a sweet new addition to Hallmark's holiday film lineup, and that is 2024's Operation Nutcracker. Now, I emphasize the 2024 because it's quite a big deal. This is one of those movies that was specifically made for 2024's Christmas in July celebration. That means it is super duper fresh, brand new, and you still have access to it for free with the use of your library card. I do think that this is very new for us, and so that's quite exciting. I will say that I was a little bit anxious about how this one was going to be because in the past I've watched some of Hallmark's other made for holiday romances from their July lineup, and I've not always enjoyed them as much as the traditional end of year movies. I don't know, it's probably more me than anything else. Maybe I'm just not ready for holiday movies in July, but this one, Operation Nutcracker, is actually wonderfully fun. I absolutely adored it, had fun from the beginning to the end, totally into the characters, the storyline, everything. Definitely one of the best holiday movies out of Hallmark, I think, that I've seen in quite some time. So glowing review. But let's go ahead and back up, give a little bit of a synopsis. So this is a tale of love and city-centric adventure, so it does tie in with our summer adventure theme as well. We are going to be following this adorably clumsy workaholic event planner named Lottie. She's traveling back to her hometown of Boston over the holidays in order to organize this big charity event for this very well-to-do family named the Warbys. Unfortunately, when she gets there, she discovers that the antique nutcracker that they were supposed to auction off, it was supposed to be the big highlight of the event, it's gone missing. So that's a problem, but that's where the sort of old school screwball romantic comedy hijinks really kick in. So Lottie and the very affable, he's not a jerk at all, he's quite like entertaining and lovely to follow from the very get-go. His name is Tristan, and the 2 of them end up going on this citywide adventure to track the Nutcracker down. Now, there are definitely tropes going on all over the place. It is absolutely a Hallmark movie, but I really loved a lot of the old school rom-com elements that they pulled in. It's kind of this fantastic blend of the 2 that I haven't really felt a lot of Hallmark romances have done in the past, at least not to this degree of quality. I mean, really, truly, it was just very well written and produced and acted. I had such a good time because there were definitely moments. This is not like a Katharine Hepburn and Cary Grant situation. Obviously, they're icons for a reason, but you definitely kind of get that vibe. There's a very lovely, sort of loose, comfortable chemistry between the actors who portray Lottie and Tristan that does kind of recall those kinds of romantic duos. There, that snappy dialogue, that just sort of electric vibe you get whenever they're on the screen together, and that's not something you see a lot. Um, the other thing I loved is that the beginning of the film is filled with meet cute moments, where the two really just continually bump into each other. Right now, in a lot of rom-coms, we are sort of seeing this enemies to lovers movement, which I do enjoy. I like a lot. I always like that transition of not being able to get along to getting along and all of the stops in between. But what this one does is really sort of focus on that fairy tale destiny kind of vibe. And with holiday movies, sometimes that's what you're looking for. Sometimes you want that feeling of fate always moving in your favor. And it really works here. The two of them. So you've got Ashley Newbrough and Christopher Russell. I don't think I've seen either one of them. Certainly not the Christopher Russell in many things before. But the two of them really, really shine on screen together. I would totally watch another of these movies with them, 100%. And they're just really, really charming with great chemistry. And not gonna lie, they're both really adorable, and that doesn't hurt with a rom-com duo. It just doesn't. You're looking for that, in fact. So if you want something that is definitely sweet, charming, uh, enjoyable all the way through, light and fluffy, with a lot of sort of golden era Hollywood callbacks, make sure you check out Operation Nutcracker. It is wonderful. There are dozens upon dozens of holiday movies on the Hallmark Now channel, but you need to bookmark this one. So 100% this one is a must watch. Okay, my other pick for this week is one I totally missed when it was initially released in 2019, and that is A Kiss Before Christmas. So this film is essentially all about a main character's what if moment. That moment in his past where he made one particular decision that then changed the entire trajectory of his life. And in A Kiss Before Christmas, our main character's name is Ethan. He's this super nice guy. He's a businessman with a great family, a really steady, albeit frustrating, oftentimes job. He has this absolutely insufferable senior coworker, and whose name is Sean. And it's because of Sean that we find ourselves with Ethan on Christmas Eve being forced to pick up extra work. And on that particular Christmas Eve, Ethan runs into who he thinks is an everyday kind of mall Santa. But that is where he ends up getting magic whammied. And we end up in this world where Ethan had made one particular decision differently in his past that then domino affected everything else. So in this magic whammy world, Ethan is a super successful businessman. He has loads and loads of influence, wealth, power, all of the trappings that go with it. And for a hot second, he's really attracted to all of those things, you know? He's not worried about a mortgage. He's not worried about kids going off to college. He's not worried about, his relationship with his wife. Everything is just free and clear, but he is entirely alone. And that's sort of what sparks Ethan's realization and desire to get back to his family. And for the rest of the film, which is the vast majority of the film, we see Ethan working to get back to that family, to that life that he knows, that he loves, that maybe is less glamorous, but is certainly the one that is more fulfilling for him in the end. It's definitely not a new concept, that whole fix it, what if thing. Tons of films have done it. Tons of holiday films have done it. The first one that comes to mind at the moment is like Family Man with Nicolas Cage, except it's kind of a reversal. He was a very successful businessman who has this magic whammy moment and then ends up being a family guy who has no money but has connection and love and affection, and it's like the reversal of this. And it's very interesting to see this kind of story told in the direction it's told in A Kiss Before Christmas, because Ethan has that realization of the things that I want are X, Y, and Z at the beginning. You know, we don't see him struggle through the whole movie to realize what's important to him. It's really the struggle to get back, that journey, which just means that he appreciates it all the more when he inevitably, because this is a Hallmark holiday film, it's got a happily ever after, let's be real here. That trajectory is more about the journey. So what does make this a very, very different kind of movie, and what sets it apart, is actually the cast or the casting. So backing up just a moment, the main characters in this, Ethan and his wife Joyce, are played by James Denton and Terry Hatcher. Now, if you were around a decade and a half ago, you may have heard of the incredibly successful TV series Desperate Housewives. Denton and Hatcher were two of the primary characters in the ensemble cast there. They were hugely popular. I loved them. They were a great, great couple on screen. Fantastic chemistry then, and fantastic chemistry now. So we are sort of having a meta moment with this movie. While the storyline isn't super new, though, maybe that reversal of coming from the really, really happy home to a more powerful setting, but maybe less happy personal life kind of situation, is flipped on its head. But really, if you're watching this, you're probably here for Terry Hatcher and James Denton. That's why I decided to pick it, to be perfectly honest. And that's why I've told several of my friends, you have to check this out because XYZ. You know, Desperate Housewives was a really, really popular show for a reason. Definitely a nighttime soap opera that had a whole lot of tropes going on in and of itself. But that energy from the cast is really what kept people interested for 8 years. And I think this definitely recaptures that magic between the two of them. You know, they're a decade and a half older, but you still love seeing them together on screen. They're just really, really fantastic together. So if you are looking for fantastic chemistry with a really sweet storyline, because even through this, you know, sort of, I would say, traditional kind of realization film, that what if movie, you still feel like it's something a bit new because these characters you haven't seen and these actors you haven't seen go through that situation. So it really is just a lovely, fun film with a great throwback cast that's really, really well written and put together. I really did enjoy this one, and it was really great to see Denton and Hatcher back on screen together. I would totally watch them in another film if Hallmark happened to do one. Because it is such a fun thing to do, to sort of see these couples that we've watched for years and then not seen for a while back on screen. Okay, so those were my 2 recommendations for Hallmark Now channel BingePass's Holiday in July celebration. If you have any recommendations for Hallmark films that you think we should be sharing, please pop those in the comments below. As I mentioned, there are dozens and dozens and dozens of Hallmark holiday movies on that Hallmark Now Binge Pass. You will find something that you like. There are so many different vibes to that particular subset of the genre, the romance genre. I mean, you have more adventure styled holiday romances, you have like more heavy family dramas, you have rom-coms. It just runs the gamut. So again, regardless of your genre preference, you'll probably find a romance that you like in there. So yeah, definitely pop those recommendations below. As always, thank you so, so much for joining me. You know, I really do love getting to sift through the catalog of offerings that all of our different services have. And the Hallmark Now channel is really fun because I'm always surprised by different things I find on there. Really surprised. And this was no different. Again, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you next week. Bye-bye.